sexual abuse of a child,
exploits and degrades them. It can cause serious damage to social, emotional, and cognitive development of a child. Sexual abuse affects 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys before the age 18. Hi, my name is Zanetta Berryman Cooper, founder of Speak Out Now. Speak Out's goal is to spread awareness of child sexual abuse and rape. We provide resources for victims, their families, and help with the overall healing process. For more information, please like and visit our Facebook page, Speak Out 203, or call 203-936-9396.
If engineering the perfect body is your main goal, and innovation personal training, where you need to go, keyword personal, meaning me and you, one-on-one, not one in a group. Everything Jay do is customized just for you, cause the last I checked, everybody ain't the same. So how you gonna train everybody as the same, man? Come from the railroad, working on the track. So trust me, when you train you, he gonna keep you on track. You innovation protein drinks instead of snacks, and the money ain't a thing. First assessment is free. Tell them what you want and what you trying to achieve, and check your BSRMs and show you what you need. Body structure, range of motion, time to put in work, train with ambition if you try and see your vision. 14, 20 man a road, now go visit.
Want to be the talk of the town this summer? Or do you want your hair to stand out amongst the rest? Then check out High Maintenance by Simone. High Maintenance by Simone offers 100% raw virgin hair. Top quality, no shedding, and no tangling. And with proper maintenance, your hair can last 12 months or more. All lengths and all styles for those summertime colors are also available. All closures, frontal, and lace wigs are also available with High Maintenance. And also ask for the 3-bundle deal. And always get the best price and quality when you shop with High Maintenance. Satisfaction guaranteed and 2-day shipping anywhere in the United States. Also ask about the High Maintenance 10% off code. Use the promo code HMBS and get 10% off. For more information, you can contact High Maintenance at 252-499-3267. Or check out High Maintenance on Facebook at Simone Yowens. Or check her out on Instagram at High Maintenance by Simone. High Maintenance by Simone Hair, the best quality you can get, and 100% raw virgin hair. It's High Maintenance, baby.
Get your spend your right, check engine light for a better price at Star. Get your alignment tight, so your body's nice for a finer price at Star. Get your struts done, rims custom, we don't overprice when we charge. Now get the lowest price at Star. Yeah, get the lowest price at Star. Hoping at 8 o'clock, rims stay in stock. And we gon' hook you up, you don't pay a lot for your brakes and shocks. Cause we gon' hook you up at Star.
All right, everybody. I'm in awe tonight because usually we have people up here cursing and acting a fool and acting up. We got the clergy in the house tonight. We got Wayfaring Ministries in the building. Now, what I'm gonna do is from the stuff that I got, everybody loves them. Miss Tanya and her dad is here, and me and him had a talk. So we ain't gonna have no. He's about that life.
No blades tonight. No blades.
We had a talk and we straightened everything out, and I don't want no problem. We're gonna go around the room and let anybody introduce themselves. We're gonna start with Dad.
Yes, my name is Apostle Eugene Brunson. I'm the pastor of Wayfaring Ministries.
Absolutely. Let's get the sister girl.
Woo! Hey, everybody. Good evening. This is me, Tanya E. Randall. I'm a radio host on 94.3 WYBC. I'm a minister at Wayfaring Ministries. I write stage plays. I do credit repair. I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, and I'm just loving everything. I'm excited to be up here with the man with the master plan. I'm in a whole nother world right now and excited about it.
Let's get our other good brother.
How y'all doing? I'm Roger Johnson. I'm a minister at Wayfaring Ministries and the director of the Life Support Program.
Okay. We got a crew up in here. We got some important folks up in here tonight. Ain't no hood rats here tonight. We got some important folks up in here tonight.
We're hanging out.
So people, when I said that I invited pastors, usually everyone will say they're not coming.
Mm-hmm.
What made y'all feel, knowing the atmosphere of the crowd and how they can get on people? What made y'all decide, to come?
Because one of the special reason is that we know and understand what the heart of this city is about, and the love that we know we carry for the people of God and for the people in general. Because one thing that God told me years ago, he said, never let another man go through what you went through. And I believe with all my heart that we need to embrace that and make sure that we raise up another generation that's coming behind us, because one thing about life is this: we only get one shot at it. And as we are going through, we got to make sure we are raising up somebody to walk in our shoes as we are moving forward.
Okay.
So I appreciate that part of what life have to offer and what we need to be able to express in this time that we have.
So y'all ain't really too worried about the tough crowd.
No. We
Okay.
embrace, because we're in there in the streets. One of the things and one of the reasons why, I'll say that we also came up here is because we're not in front of the cameras, when the news and stuff shows up. We're active in the community. We're active as, we have Roger Johnson here, and my husband will be here later on, but these gentlemen have came from the streets, came through the prisons, and know what it is to reach back and to, recover those that are lost. So we're out there. We do prayer walks. We're out there in the communities. We're out there, when people have to go to court, they're showing up to court dates. We have, an active outreach ministry that we're very excited about. And to answer Courtney's question, we're located in Hamden on 29 Marne Street, right behind the unemployment office where the walking trail is. That's where we're located, and we've been in existence for 32 years now. This is our 33rd year coming up as far as Wayfaring Ministries is concerned.
You guys been
33 years.
In that same area?
Right in that same location area, yes.
Jeez. Now, as do you know about the shooting that took place?
Yes.
With the police officers and a young couple that was in the car. Now, people, were you guys going to come out there and be a part of that as well? Or you just felt it wasn't necessary?
I just thought that there was enough that was out there, and enough people that was out there, and I'm trusting God in this time and season right now. And I know that there's a lot of things that's happening and things that's going on. I think the thing was very wrong and what have happened. So, but one of the things is that I know that what happened is, but I saw a lot of people that was out there that I knew that was out there. So that worked. That it seemed to me it's working out really good. I know they're having a rally today pertaining to that meeting also. But I think it's working itself in and working itself out.
Okay, now is anybody in this room political? Do you have because a lot of people will say that they come out there because the camera's out there and they have agendas, and they usually blame this on the clergy.
Yeah. One thing about that, and there might be some people in that line or in that order like that. But one of the thing is with me, and I think that with people, this is not a thing that what you really want to be about or be after or looking into. But what we are trying to be able to do is make sure that what happened is that people respect and get the work done that need to get done in the city, because this is a very quiet city. But what happened is things begin to step up, and what happened is, and we would dare not want the police department to be able to step it up, to be able to cause this kind of chaos. Because what happened is, when we had worked so hard for our children to be on the right page of getting things done, and that's what they were doing. They were doing a lot of good work in this city.
Okay. We got a few. We got another brother in here. He looked like a couple of cats I hung out with back in the day. She said that was her husband, but I don't believe it. He got a young face. I don't
That's
know.
my baby cakes right there.
That's your baby. Yeah.
That's my baby cakes.
Now let me fix your mic so it doesn't cover your face up so everybody can. There you go. Let me turn that like that. Boom. So we're gonna get you introduce yourself, good brother, so the people know who you are in the building. Make sure you, boom, we good.
I'm Brother Jerry from Wayfaring Ministries.
I
do a lot of outreach in the community, and I love my people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Cut right to the chase. No whole bunch of talk. Cut right to the chase. Now, Minister Tanya,
yes,
you didn't go out there as well once the whole thing kicked off.
No,
you didn't feel a need to.
No, and and I'm not saying no in a way of negative of not support, but here's the thing that I was on the radio station that Sunday. And while being on the radio station, one of the things that, I was sharing is a level of accountability. If you're going out there and you're, out there in the community amidst, people, especially when tragedy like that happens, the biggest thing that you could turn around and be is, number one, a support, not, the point of trying to, get the answers in front of the camera, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the answers that you're looking for, in front of the camera. What we have to do, and even as a church, and coming together, we have to collectively find the sources and resources to be able to attack what things are happening. And, a lot of times the media is only going to give you but so much of all of what you say. You're still only going to get the piece that they want to show and display. So now what happens is you literally have to come almost like behind closed doors, get people together to a place and a point that not just words are being said and heard, excuse me, but that there's also a level of accountability being held. People coming together to be able to make things happen and to cause change to come into an atmosphere and a community, not just by getting it on the media. Because here's the thing that's going to happen in another 2 or 3 weeks, as even, we've seen all the protesting and, people standing out there in the forefront and everything. Here's the thing. If we don't continue to keep the consistency of holding people accountable well after the cameras, it should be some other things. And when you talk about the church, and I know there's a lot of questions that came around that I just thought I wanted to be able to address and we can talk about. But when you think about the fact that you have to literally put things in place and in position to be able to not just be a voice for a season, but be a voice all the time. See, there's a level of accountability that has to be taking place for everything that took place during that particular shooting. So it's not just a one-day thing. It's not just, and I know that there are some people that's been out there on a continual basis that's been, in a protest mode and getting things happen. But at some point, the church and the community has to be able to partner together to turn around, to change some things and hold, offices and hold people and hold, all of these high authorities in a level of accountability. And it doesn't just fall on the church. It falls within the community as well. Because, and I'll pause for a quick second on that, but I want to hit something with that in a minute as well.
Okay. What is it? You're Jerry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you? Are you in the streets as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I had spoke to your wife and she said that you come from the same, you done pounded the same dirt.
Absolutely.
As a lot of these young men have out here.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times I think people don't think that the pastors are in touch, like they can't, like. There's a lot of, we talked earlier about old school pastors,
right?
Who just don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that now. You messed up, you go to jail. Pretty much.
Right.
So this is a good thing that you guys are in the streets. You've been in the streets, and you turned your life around, and you want to save people.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about.
You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Okay, because
talk about it.
Yeah.
Y'all talk about it. Listen,
it makes perfect sense because a lot of times, you get into a place in life where we're searching for something. Right. And that's what's going on in the streets. You have a lot of people out there searching for something. And I was a person that was searching for something my whole life. It took me to go to prison for 10 years to find out my purpose in life. Wow. It took for me to have to sit back and have someone tell me what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, for me to say, something, I want to change my life. So what happened was, it came a point on my prison bed where I came in across some brothers that just introduced me to a different way of life. And I started going to church in prison. Okay. And I gave my life to God while I was in prison. And in prison, a lot of people thought I started bugging because I stopped going to rec. I stopped doing a lot of things that I related to doing when I was on the streets.
Oh, he's been in prison because he said wreck. That's one of the that's
Keyword?
That's a
That's a
key
keyword.
word.
Huh?
Yeah, that's a key word.
Yeah. So what happened was you have to change. You have to change. If you don't change your life and find what your purpose is, you'll keep going for the nonsense that society keeps putting out there in front of our faces.
Okay.
This is why you have so many people going through the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Because they're not willing to seek the truth. And that's what happened. I found the truth, and then I found a man, my Apostle Brunson, who taught me how to be a man, who taught me how to be a father, who taught me how to be a husband, who taught me how to be everything that I wasn't.
Right.
And therefore, and it's funny because I know my wife told you before, he's from the streets. He started his ministry in the streets.
Right.
So New Haven respects this man.
Absolutely.
He's not a person that wants to get in front of the camera for the shine. He sit back in the cut and raise men up like me.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's not about money. It's not about, prestige. It's about saving people's souls. It's about getting people into a place of accountability.
Right.
So therefore, what he instilled in me, I go back and instill into the people. See, all of us who come from the prison go back to the prisons. We go back to the streets. We go back to the halfway houses. We go back to those places that nobody don't really want to go.
Yeah. Now you got a couple of questions up here. They're wanting to know what is the church responsible for the community, like as far as tithes and money. Should it? Is the church responsible for putting it back in the community?
Here,
as far the Bible talks about tithes and offering because that's the only way we know we function as a church. But what happened was not based on that. It's based on what we should be doing as a people, changing people's lives. The people's heart have to be changed. And what happened, and I thought we were really doing a good job, but what happened, but it's going to take all of us to get it done.
Can I grab this call?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, call us the Raw Report. We got Wayfaring Ministries in the house. Talk to us.
T.S. Copy King.
How you doing?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I want to shout out Jerry. I know Jerry's official. This is King. Yo, listen, plus that's T. Lee's church. I just wanted one question I want to ask the apostle. I wanted to know what was the difference between a reverend, bishop, and apostle. That's all I want to know because I see the title there, so I know that has to have a different meaning. That's all I wanted right now.
Okay. One of the things, they all have the same meaning, but what happened is just at the level of apostle, you begin to being able to have other churches that's with you, that you're kind of like an oversee over to help them continue on being steadfast in the things of life and God. And ministers, it's the same purpose, but what happened is they just hold a different title and a different office, but they're all the same thing. They carry the same authority and power.
Okay. Now, good brother, you have the ministry, prison ministry, right?
I'm a part of the prison ministry. I'm the director of the life support program.
The life support. Now tell us about what that.
Life support is a program that helps people get on their feet. For the last 3 years, we've helped several hundred people avoid homelessness and rise from homelessness with rental assistance, with gift cards to Walmart, for odds and ends for people to get on their feet. And that's essentially what the program does. It's life support, a temporary support to help people get from a struggling situation to being on their feet.
Okay. Now I think I see a lot of people that the community, because I don't know if they blame like crime in the community. I heard someone inbox me before y'all came on and said, well, there's all these churches, but there's so much crime in the community. Does that fall on y'all? Is that
okay? Go ahead. Absolutely not. How can one particular group or organization be responsible for the world? See, this is what happens, right? There's a saying, it takes a village to raise a person, right? So, of course, the church plays its role in a community, right? But so does the parents. So does the grocery store clerk. So does the barbershop owner and the hair salon owner. Everybody plays a part. Everybody is accountable in our community. You can't just blame one organization for everything that's going wrong in the community. Because guess what? Everybody is not bringing their children or themselves, to receive that type of help that they need. To me, church is like a hospital. You know what I mean? And
right.
I go there to get the things that I need to make me better. And a lot of times, man, it's just the truth of the matter is people just don't want to get better. So and everybody looks for someone to blame. We deal in a world that's people are opportunists, and they look for the opportunity, or they look to point the finger at people. And who better to point the finger at than the church?
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times we're dealing with people, right? And you could come at me, but we're dealing with ignorance.
Right.
That's what we're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of times, this is what people do. They want to point the finger. It's the church for it. It's that person for it. This is about money. That's about money. Well, where you at? Where you at in the community? What you doing in the community? You ain't doing nothing. All you doing is trying to blame the people who really trying to do something in the community. Right. But you ain't doing nothing. So everybody's accountable for what goes on in our community. Not just the pastors, not just the church. Right. Everybody's responsible.
And you say everybody doesn't participate.
Nah. The people that point the fingers, the ones that really ain't doing nothing.
Right.
That's who's not doing nothing. But the people who putting in work, the people that's in the trenches putting in work for free, not for no money. Right. Come on now. That's what we do. That's what the prison ministry at Wayfaring Ministries do. We put in work for free because we got a love for our people. And we don't want to, I know my apostle said it, never let another man go through what you're going through. So a lot of times, this is what we're doing. There's a crew of us. All of us got backgrounds. All of us was away for a significant amount of time. And all of us is trying to give back. We're the people that's pointing the fingers at. Mm-hmm. Right. I understand that some people stand in front of the camera and some people want recognition. Of course, man, there's always some bad apples and everything. We know that.
Right.
But what about the people that's really laboring? The people that really care? We here because we care. Mm-hmm. We here because you know something. If the people want to beat on the church, beat on me. I can take it, but I know what I'm really doing. So your words is really falling on idle ground. It's not going to affect me. It's not going to stop me from my purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you was getting ready to say something because I wanted to say something as well. So I know you were ready to say something.
Yeah, because it's one thing about being the church. And one thing, you know, the fight and the struggle over the years, man, is just trying to being able to make sure, because I used to get high. And what happened is, as being a pastor, prophet, whatever it may call me, but what happened is being that one time, but now being a sober-minded man, and now I know what my purpose is, to being able to turn men's life around, that they will be able to be a good structure. My father never left me unattended. And I believe, God, that we should never leave another man unattended, because his responsibility is to raise up and being able to be a guide and a leader. What happened, we got so much stuff that has been set before us that what happened that caused this kind of chaos. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing the kids now want to grow up and want to be somebody. But what happened, but we as the men have to make sure that they're in place and doing what they're supposed to be doing. They need structure. Yeah. And what happened, and that's our job. Our job is to make sure they have structure. And what happened is, that's why I don't want to worry about all this other stuff of getting into anything, trying to be camera, looking at camera, whatever. It doesn't matter. Man, what happened, and my thing is this. I don't want to see nobody out there losing their lives or losing their ability. Right. My daughter is with me. Yep. And I consider these brothers right here my sons. Yep. And what happened is to do what we are supposed to be doing.
Right.
And I'm loving it, but what happened, but it's hard work.
It is.
It's hard work,
yes,
man.
It is.
You know, you get up 5 o'clock in the morning, you get up 2 o'clock in the morning praying and trusting God. And what happened? And that's what this thing is all about, man. We got to trust God, because it's not easy keeping us sober-minded with the stuff that we done came through. Right. And we chase drugs, we chase all this stuff, and now we straight. I mean, that's something should be accountable for right now, that we are straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ty, you want to say something?
Yeah, because I was going to say, you know, the more we turn around, and in the church, our level of responsibility is to be able to grow leaders. And in the process of growing leaders, we only come behind those 4 walls, because the church is not the 4 walls. So when you talk about, you know, people are blaming the church, you're really blaming people. We're the church. That's what the word of the Lord says, that we are the church. But when we go out, you know, into the communities, when we're dealing and in contact with people, you know, in different extremes, different measures, we are literally accountable for people. And see, the thing that we have to realize and understand, we've had dilapidated communities, you know, where we see, you know, crimes one against another, you know, fighting ourselves. If we can turn around and empower people to get the mindset that Our own is not our enemy, but we should be empowering one another. You know, when my father just talked about, you know, us having a responsibility, when you look at the fact that in our communities, you can't find fathers in neighborhoods anymore. You don't see people that are on their porches or on the corners that are, you know, telling kids right from wrong, because they'll draw on you, or, you know, they won't even respect you. We do have a hard work and a task that is before us at hand. When you're looking at young mothers that don't even know really how to be a mother, but they were forced to be a mother because that mother was not there. See, when you're talking about the level of accountability, we have to be able to instruct and instill. We could talk about all the murmur and complaint of everything else, but what happens after it's done? Are we still empowering our community? When you look at our communities now, and one of the things that, you know, my husband and so many of the other men, you know, that are so passionate about, you know, we're not even owners anymore to things in our community. We don't own stores anymore. We don't turn around, you know, and support our own. And if we do support our own, the ones that we are supporting, I remember, and I don't know if I'm probably telling my age, but I remember when we came up, there was Penguins Market, Miss Mary. You know, Miss Mary, if somebody didn't have the money to turn around and get, you know, a pound of bologna and some cheese, she turned around and gave credit, because she knew that that family, number one, wasn't going to go out to have to rob to get it, but they were going to turn around and make sure that they fed it and knew that they were coming back to take care of that debt. So when you're talking about just empowering people and building up a community, when you turn around, the most powerful thing that you could turn around and be is an individual that has a mind and a mindset that nobody can turn around and alter, and can't nobody snatch from you what is placed on the inside of you. Most of the time we settle for what is, you know, made available to us through media, what's made available to us with what's around us on a day-to-day basis. But the moment we become accountable, we turn around now and we can transform our community. We can transform the mind of how we're treated, you know, in our communities, and we can turn around and cause the church to be the church, because it's not in the building. The doors can stay locked for eternity. When we walk around, we literally become that walking, breathing, living church. That's who we are. And I wanted to address, because I know a few people was talking about, you know, that the church only gets the money, and, you know, where does the money go? And here, two things, and it was last night when I was laying down, because I knew that we were coming here, but there were two things that came to me, even when I knew that could possibly be a question that came up. See, I remember years ago, when people talked about that all the church wanted was money, and it was money, money, money. And, you know, you saw people prospering, and they called it, you know, the prosperity movement and all this other stuff. But I said, you know, one thing that I realized, I said, in the church, we turn around and people know how to pray. People know how to, you know, worship God. People know how to read the word of God. People get saved. But what we don't turn around and do is empower people how to live and be financially set and be financially free. How many people out there, you know, that's on this feed have empowered themselves to turn around and become business owners or entrepreneurs, or come and create wealth? Because see, here's the thing, the church has to sustain the building for bills to be paid. See, when you turn around and you find a church that's still standing, it's because when that money came in, they had to pay bills in order to keep the building going. Nobody lives for free anywhere. The same way a church doesn't just operate and, you know, it's osmosis that the church shows up and that, you know, everything is taken care of. It takes resources in order to be able to keep that going. But here's the thing, what I began to understand last night, and I believe God dropped it on me, when you turn around and you empower people, because the word of the Lord says, it is me that give you power to get wealth. He said, I desire that you be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. I made you seeds of Abraham. Every blessing that I assigned for you is promised to you. But yet, if our mind is not in a sober-minded state, my father always said this from the moment he turned around and birthed ministry. He said, a sober-minded man, no, what, go ahead, say what you said.
Money is nothing but an idea. And what happened? And it takes a soul-minded man in order to make things work in this behalf.
A sober-minded man. So money is nothing but an idea. Now, if you went out and you're out there in the world and you turn around and come up with an idea, and now you have money and you want people to buy your product, you're not considered a pimp. You're not considered somebody that's taking advantage of somebody because they're paying for your product. And I'm not saying you're paying for the word, but what I am saying, you're paying so you can turn around and come into a building to get what you need to go back out and empower the person in your household, to empower your children, that they don't settle for the norm of everything, to turn around and I know you want to piggyback on that. Go ahead and jump right in. Go ahead.
I got next after you.
You can. Now, I just, because we have to make sure the record is set straight. My apostle is full time. We try our best to take care of this man of God, simply because when we call on him, we want him to be there for us. Right. If he has a 9 to 5, right, and there's an emergency, someone wants prayer, someone is at the hospital and they call him for him, and he's at work because he got to punch a clock. We have to understand, like, it's not all about him wanting money, but it's all about his availability to the people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what you got to take into consideration, man. He's available for the people 24/7. This man turns around. He does funerals for free. He allows people to use our church for free. He goes and prays for people that ain't members of our church for free. He does everything for free. So we should take care of him. He ain't out here driving no doggone Rolls Royce, no Bentley.
Can I grab this?
Absolutely,
Yes,
you can grab it.
And then Raj,
Raw report. Talk to us, baby.
Yeah, I had to call in right quick. I heard a young lady say, we're paying to come in the building to, listen and then bring it home to our family and teach and all of that. Honestly, God is with it. So for us to, go to a building with a bunch of people to be taught something that we can learn ourselves, and we can put our own money into our bills in our own home, because as far as I can remember, I never remember church cost to come in to get praise.
You want to answer? You got it?
Sure.
Did you go numb on me?
No, thank you. We were just getting ready to answer, but thank you so much for that question. I want you to stay on the line while we respond.
We're so excited to talk to you. We're trying to figure out who's going to answer first.
My grandfather, he's not here, but he was a reverend. I know every bit of everything. And I don't go to the church because, as far as I'm concerned, when a group of people is ran by, and I say ran by, and it's no disrespect, but it's ran by a reverend, a pastor, or anyone, any source, then it's like a cult. And when you're sitting there and you're giving money, but yet you can't come and tap the pastor on the shoulder and say, listen, Mr. Pastor, my phone bill, or no, never mind my phone bill, my rent. I'm shy on my rent. Can I get half? For a person that go to your church and get tithes every week, the most they get, if they get help on there, and not saying your church, but any church, the most that they will get help on, if they get help on, it may be $100, but they will have to give it back. Now, why is that?
You know what? Let me speak not as a minister, but as just a dude with a wife and a family, just to disagree with you from a personal perspective. In all humility, over the years, I had to hit him for money to get gas and pay bills, and I ain't pay it back, and he ain't saying I owe him. You know what I mean? Because I was hurting as a dad. In fact, there have been times, and I'm not the only one in the church that's been there, that they saw I was struggling, and just somebody pulled me aside. When I say someone, I'm talking about him. Went in his pocket and say, here for a bill, because hey, you got kids, and you got a family. And so here's the thing about giving. You know how the Bible talks about giving secret? And so let's say for a second he did give, but he's not bragging about it. He's not doing it for the honor or the glory or some celebration.
Oh, I give.
Hear me out for a second. So if I'm a person that doesn't know that he just pulled me aside and helped me out with with money for my family, I can sit back and say, you know what? The pastor don't never help nobody and dig in his pocket, but that's because he didn't do it for celebration. And so I'm glad that came up, because part of this topic had been what the church does in public versus what the church does in private. And so being a ministry that doesn't do things for the sake of doing in public, I think the double-edged sword there is people don't know what you're doing. And so when they see that, well, you know what, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, but how do you know? And you know what I mean? Because again, I'm not speaking as a... Go ahead.
Let me share this with you.
Please do.
I went one day to 3 churches, and that's only in one day. First church I went to, first thing the pastor did, he set it off. I'm going to dig in my pocket. I'm going to put $100 in the plate. And next thing you know, before I left that church had $1,600. And the pastor mentioned what he had. Then he had another speaker come up who pulled out $30. So them people that just gave up almost $1,600, they just stood back up and they gave more money. Now, that's taken out of their homes. Now I went to another church. In the mix of going to the next church, the pastor did the same thing, pull out $100. All 3 pastors did that. So when I seen that, to me, I felt, okay, this is part of the plan. This is the stardom. You pull out the $100 and, you get them rolling. But at the end of the day, who does that money goes to? You. Who does that? Of course, the money takes care of the building and it pays the bills. But who does that money go to? Anyone in church ask for, again, $1 towards a bill they will not get.
See, one of the thing is that one thing is kind of really rough, that what happened is the church is not to the point that what happened is like when God tell us to being able to pay 10%, and when we do that, and what had happened is like, and then when right after the service is over, you say, well, I just gave it for a front. Could I have my money back? We can give it back to you. But what happened is, but you're really not being able to trust in and allowing God to being able to actually meet the need that you're set out for. But
how do you know that? You don't know the relationship a person have with God.
No, not a point that what happened in knowing the relationship that we have with God. It's only in our action and what we do. It's only in our action.
My 10% could come in, listen to you, and give Miss Shirley, who's next to me, a hand getting down the steps to get to her vehicle. So I'm giving it some kind of ties right there. I'm giving my 10%. I'm giving my help. I'm giving 10% out of my day of coming to a church. 10% comes in numerous ways.
But that's all right. See, that's a good thing that whatever, but as long as you know that that's what the word of God meant, that what happened, your 10%. If you feel that that's what it is, because what happened is, God tells us about being able to be good stewards over the scriptures. To being able to be good stewards over the scriptures, just being have a good understanding and what happened, and just keep it moving, because he ain't gonna break nobody down. My whole thing was, I said earlier, how wonderful it is to be a sober-minded man. How wonderful it is to be a sober-minded man. And what happened, and I'm so happy, man, I don't got to smoke a joint. I don't have to get high. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just live a good life in the sight of God, and making sure my children are raised, making sure my wife is in a good place. And that's what this thing is all about. We show forth the gratitude of God, how great we are doing what we're supposed to do. Because I remember one time, I never did it.
And you're right.
Before
I leave, I just want to ask you guys one question. If you can answer the breakdown, and break it down for me. If not, I'll leave you with the jewels. Can you break down the word Holy Bible, meaning the letters? Each letter, Holy and Bible. What does that mean?
May I do that? Yeah. So it's funny. You hear a lot of stuff in I'll say in English. Well,
no, I just asked that one question.
Well, I want to answer it. So here's the thing. Here's the truth of it. The word Bible comes from a Greek word biblos, right? It means library or
I'm saying each letter. What do each letter?
Nothing. They don't mean nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't want to put it like that. I know there's been sermons.
Before I leave, I'm going to just share it with y'all. It's he only left you basic instructions before leaving earth. So if you're tuned in the church, as you say you are, and there's no disrespect, then that right there, that tool, you can take that, share that with the servant, and give them an understanding that this Bible is definitely a tool.
Bless you, sir.
That's all I want to share with you, bro.
We appreciate you, definitely. God bless you.
Hey, Jay, this is Danny Bromel. This is Pumpkin and Emmanuel's cousin, Cleo Hosky brother. Oh, Cheddar, man.
Peace.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Bless you.
All right, so I just had to show some of my background and my blessings, but y'all take care, and I'm gonna finish watching y'all.
All right, good looking,
All right, peace.
All right.
We have. Oh, it's another caller.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
We have a serious responsibility. When you turn around and look at it, and again, here. This is not just something that can be turned around and transformed overnight. We literally have a lot of work ahead, because again, the more we continue to keep staying in a place, remaining in the mindset that we're in and looking to find the finger to point to blame, we are never going to execute and become the people that we are truly supposed to be, as far as Kingdom-minded individuals having a mindset. See, one of the things that the brother just said when he, depicted the scripture, here's one of the things that, I take and gather from that. See, you can't fail to assemble yourself together with people. And that's all fellowship is in coming to church. You're coming together to gather information. And I say it on my broadcast every single week. Iron sharpens iron. See, you don't know what you might glean and get from somebody, especially if you're living in an environment of negativity, if your household is in a place of negativity, if your community or neighborhood is in a place of negativity. You want to come somewhere where somebody might be able to see you and give you a word of hope or encouragement, or vice versa. You might be that strong individual to give somebody that word of hope, of encouragement. But all iron does is sharpen one another. The same way you turn around and take that blade and sharpen that thing, it's sharpened because it rubbed up against something else that was strong. And if we don't turn around and bear the infirmities of the weak, we're going to keep on doing these things over and over again and keep on, having the excuses and having to deal with problems in the community instead of turning around and finding avid solutions that we can turn around and shut stuff down through what we are, who we are, and what we know. Because some of y'all out there, as I'm just watching as the chimes go through, you're some of the brightest, baddest people on the face of the earth. And I tell people this: if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're the baddest thing walking the face of the earth, then you got a problem. You have a problem. And in the midst of it, you can't blame nobody else. But the thing that you can do is you can evolve and turn around and find help to lock arms with, so that we can turn around and be that support. I know there's a call coming in.
Okay. Raw Report, talk to us. It's getting a little heavy in here.
What's up, Rob? This is David Guest.
What's up, cousin?
I just want to get off the subject for 1 second and ask my cousin Jerry why he ain't called me back the other day.
What in the world?
That's the nonsense.
I'm dead serious. He had me waiting for him.
Yo, I was busy, brother.
All right, peace, y'all. Hey, Apostle. Hey, cousin Tanya.
Hey,
my wonderful cousin. I love you.
Love y'all. Peace. I love the show, Rob. Keep it pushing, man.
Thank you, sir.
all right.
Yeah.
So are y'all seeing the comments?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to. My glasses need to be cleaned a little bit, because they're a little foggy. I'm trying to get all of the questions here that they're scrolling through.
Now, is that common for people to say money when
yes.
Okay.
Yes, but one of the things, and I'm telling you, it was so pressed on me last night. It is when we find a way to literally empower people to become their own. See, the source of everything, one thing we don't mind doing, we'll go and pay hundreds of dollars to Nike and support what's his name, Jordan, and we'll stand in line for that. And there's no curse or no retribution to that. And your sneakers are not preaching to you. Your sneakers are not healing or feeding you. Your sneakers are not even talking to you. And most of the time, you only keep them till the next new one comes out. We don't mind investing in things that don't have value. But here yet, and let me just say this, every church is not a perfect church, because there is no perfect church. Right. If you turn around and look for that perfect church, then you've already set yourself up for failure. But what you do have to do is come in with a level of accountability. What do you have to bring to the table when you come into the doors, if you decide to come into a church? Because see, at the end of the day, the thing that we're after is salvation for your soul. The thing that we're after at the end of the day is that you might be healed from whatever it is that you've experienced, that you've gone through, that you had to come and deal with throughout the course of your life. It might be a mother that wasn't there. It might be a father that turned around and abused you. It might be your children that are turning around that are behind bars, or, it might be you just don't have a meal on your table. Those things are real issues, but yet, here's the thing. We can't really hold the government accountable for feeding us. You can't hold the government accountable for doing these things, because at the end of the day, like that Stop and Shop strike that happened, when they turned around and pulled the plug for 11 days, people were standing out there hoping and wishing that there was a plan B. See, if we fail to empower people to get into a place that you've got to occupy and earn your own, that you've got to put yourself in a place that you can turn around and do some amazing things and cause your community to find out who you are. See, right now, now we're going fishing after people to get answers that you're never going to get answers from. Right. You're waiting for them to give you a level of a stamp of approval that, okay, we're going to now do this. We're responsible and accountable for our own communities. That's wherever you live, whether it's New Haven, Westville, Fairhaven, the island, wherever it is that you are, we are accountable for our own communities. We should be responsible for the ones that surround us. People these days, we used to be able to leave our doors unlocked. Right now, try leaving your door unlocked for a while and somebody know it. They can know you and grew up with you all day long, and they'll turn around and rob you blind. I know, because I had it happen when I lived in Eastern Circle. And it was the one that lived right next door to me and was selling my stuff. So you can't tell me if we don't turn around and create a mindset for individuals to be able to come into a perfect place of understanding that I got to turn around and I got to do this thing. See, here's the thing that I also understand. You talking about all of the even the police brutality. Where's our young men that have the right mind to turn around and police your own neighborhoods? Why are we afraid to turn around and apply to the police academies and become officers of law in our own communities? Who know your community better than you? You do. But yet we got young people coming from every walk of life, every background. I've seen some tragic stuff that I've been watching it, different things with the police. See, we have to hold everybody accountable. It's not just one thing. But see, here's the thing. Before we can go outside, let's start inside and let's heal our land. Because here's what Chronicles said. He said, if my people which are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, not do a circle and go back to the stuff, but turn from their wicked ways. He said, I'll turn around. He said, I'll forgive their sins. I'll heal their land. It's on us. Right. It's on us. We literally have it in our possession. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for us, but we're afraid to go after and get it. Listen, stores, we could change that community. People don't even want to boycott the communities no more, to turn around and take back what was already yours. Why? Because we're sitting there. The package stores on every corner. We right there at 8 a.m. when they open up. We support them till they close, and the last one in there closing up with them. Lollygagging, laughing, and playing, but then yet we blaming everything and everybody else. We got to change that stuff.
And you know what? Can I say this? And my pastor is right next to the apostles next to me. He can stop me. Watch. Tell me if I say something wrong. Yeah. Because I'm seeing a lot of comments about money and tithes and the church and the money. Keep it. The Bible says that God loves a cheerful giver.
Yes.
Yeah. I would absolutely hate for somebody to not come to church and get the truth. And I'm going to talk about myself in a second, but if it's about the money, keep it in your pocket.
Yes.
Because there's member organizations that say, you pay X amount to be a part of this organization. If you don't pay your due, you're out. That ain't church. No. If you have a problem with the tithe or the offering, whatever, keep your money and come get it. Yep. Come to the church, get truth, get instructions. Now, I'm going to speak for myself just for a second.
Because all organizations have dues.
All organizations have dues. And this is like the church is an organization. If you don't pay, you good. We ain't mad at you if you don't pay. In fact, if I can tell the truth,
you got to pay your Mason.
In Wayfaring Ministries, I believe that
you got to pay your union
congregation time
to be part of the union.
You don't see us kicking the other 80% out.
Right.
Because it's not about the money. In fact, let me say this. My mother was a teenage mother. I'm from Bridgeport, right? I came home to New Haven from prison. He was coming to the prison when I was an inmate. And now these days, the whole prison thing is the new black, and everybody wants to talk about reform and all that stuff. Back then, he didn't know there was a clergy association, because every night when they met, he was in some prison.
Come on now.
Prison ministry don't pay.
Give up his resume. Give him his resume, Roger.
You can't bring a phone into a prison and record it and post it on Facebook to let the world see what you did. No. It's thankless work, and he's glad to do it. And because he did it, I go into the prisons every week.
Yep.
He go into the prisons every week. Cats that been to jail are going into the prisons under the banner of Wayfaring Ministries, not for pay, not for glory, because nobody know we do it, and we don't get paid to do it.
Right.
And we say, I'm reading a lot of the chats, well, how is that not giving back? If a father in your household is the most stable thing that could happen in your household.
Right.
If a steady job is the most valuable thing a person can have over a food stamp, over a rental assistance, and these are people going into the prisons to bring your fathers back, to bring your sons back. And here's the thing, that is giving back to the community. And so, and like I said, the trouble is...
Who you think pay for the gas? Who pay for the gas going up there, riding up and down the highways and 3 times a week?
And like I said, if it comes down to money, please keep it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Come to church, because when I say that, I don't want to just be religious and say truth.
Right.
Like I said, I went to jail at the age of 18. My father was in jail my whole life, right? I hope he's not watching. Dad, But my thing is this: I did not know how to be a dad. I didn't know how to be I didn't know how to be a husband to my wife. I didn't know how to parent my children. I learned that there. Yeah. And so we'll say, well, what is the church doing? I just told you. I'm not speaking as a minister. I'm not here as a minister. And I saw the comments up there. Someone said, well, everybody's got a salary. Raise your hand if you want a salary. No, because here's the thing. We're not just, you got to remember, well, she said it, a church is not a building. A church is a bunch of people. Yep. And so what you're looking at, you got a bunch of people who come from the community, right? Who get instructions on how to live. Right. And you know what's good for the community? What she say? She said people that come out and police their own community. And what did he say? It takes a sober-minded man. And so if our young men come to church, forget the tithe and learn how to be stable individuals, that is a great thing for our community. And so because what happens... Picture if all the men in our communities decided, forget what your religious title is. I'm going to go back to my community and make my change. Now, I can't necessarily do the work that Jerry does. My assignment might not be the assignment that Tanya does. But if I go back and say, you know what, I'm going to help homeless people. And she goes back and says, I'm going to work with prison people in prison. And everyone just comes in, gets a stable mind. How is that not us giving back?
Shay, and one of the things I just want to address, Shay, I know Shay had a lot of question that was coming through. I didn't get to see your Shay Telford. We are different, and I will say this. Everybody was brought up different. Everybody didn't come from church. These fellas right here, they didn't come from church. Church, they gleaned and through a prison system and was able to get the experience, but when they came home they created a level of accountability to see the knowledge that they needed and to get fathered. See, most of us, and if we be truthful, there are so many broken homes that are in our communities. There is no mother and father, figure in the communities anymore. The one thing that I appreciate and value with my father, he told my mother, you are not going to work. You're going to stay home and take care of these kids. And I remember when my mother, she said, well, I am going to go out and get a job. He said, okay, well, if you're going to go out and get a job, you still got to make sure you're going to do your part here in being an instrument for the children. See, society has pushed us from out of a place and a position where we should be empowering our children and our seed and not letting the radio, the TV, the media, and everything else raise our children. But when you also look at, not being in a church where you grew up in church and all of this stuff is different and new. See, here's the thing. When you are thirsty for change, you're going to search for answers somewhere. The same way right now, people are out there in the streets and they're searching for answers. See, we are the solution. And regardless if you realize it or not, you are already priests, kings, and prophets in your own right. That's the one thing that we can't take from who we are. We were already seed in the earth. He said, listen, you're a royal priesthood. You're a holy nation. You're a peculiar people. But yet when we turn around and demonstrate something contrary to who and what we really are, we turn around and leave a bad taste in the mouths of all of those that come and experience. I'm not saying that this is Pleasantville, that we got to turn around and live this happy life, because let me tell you something, in everything that you experience in life, you're going to have the ups and downs. You're going to go through the roller coasters of life. You're going to experience trials and suffering and pain and hurt and abuse and all of these other things. It's not what you go through, it's how you go through it. And when you don't have that blueprint on how to go through adversity will swallow you up and kill you, and you will blame every and anything that comes up and rise up against you. All we want to do is be able to let you know, listen, every church is not a perfect church. And we've seen, I remember that there were times that my apostle has kicked people off the pulpit and shut people down because of the greed for money. He said, you're not going to come in here and pimp the people. You're not going to come in here, and just tell them any and everything. He's a shepherd. As a shepherd, if anybody knows what the role of a shepherd is, they tend to the sheep. See, you have to know that there's a level of accountability. And for those men that's listening and watching, you are a shepherd of your own home. You're a shepherd in your community. And it is what you allow in your home and what you allow to come through the ear gates and the eye gates of your family. If you are in that type of structure, you're accountable for that. You are the one that is held accountable. And see, a lot of times we say, well, you know what? I can't get, ahead. There's nothing let me tell you something. There is nothing stopping you at the end of the day but you. Because here's the thing that you have to realize, and this is just for the men for this quick moment. When you realize and understand that everything that God said that we are and equipped us with, he gave it to us the moment we were spoken into this earth. The moment you were dedicated as a boy or a girl in this land, you were already given every tool that you need. It's not a surprise when you turn around and you do something and find out that you're good at it. It was already in you. All you're doing is maturing the gift that was already in you. But if you're not in a sober-minded place, like my apostle turned around and said, you will never understand what you're capable of doing and how powerful you are as an individual. For the young ladies that's out there, you will never know how strong you are and how powerful you are, how much of a nurturer you are, that you can turn around and change some things. This is one of the things that I do all the time, and my husband laughs at me. Sometimes he don't even like to ride with me in the car. If I'm driving down the street and I see a young man with his pants hanging down where he can't barely walk, I pull the car over literally. And I get right there in their face and I roll my window down and I said, let me tell you something. I said, can I share something with you real quick? And they look at me with that hard thuggish look, but it doesn't bother me. And I said, let me tell you something. You are so what do I normally tell them? I normally tell them you're so sexy. I said, you know what will make you even more sexier? I said, if you pull them pants up, I said, because let me tell you something. I said, you got some swag to you. See, it's encouragement. They might not have heard that from their household, so they succumb to what they saw in their circumference and what they see by day to day. But when they turn around and leave from out of my presence, I said, could you just do me a favor, even if you do it while you're in my presence? Could you just pull them pants up so I can see your swag? And when they pull their pants up, I watch them how they look back at me to see, because somebody gave them attention. See, we're failing. We're failing our communities. I know there's a call. I'm going to pause because I love to talk.
I think they hung up.
They hung up. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I told her to hold on. I'll give her a call back.
Call back, y'all. I'm so sorry. Listen, we're passionate.
Yeah,
right.
I wanted to say this because I saw the brother talking about black church and slavery. I want to speak to that for a second. No one could deny that bad religion was used to justify slavery, right? Bad religion was used to justify September 11th. Bad religion was used to justify the Inquisition. I don't have a religion. I don't consider myself, what is the religious dude? I have a relationship with Christ, right? And the thing is, we can talk about slavery. Think about this. I was a product of what you call the school to prison pipeline. And where I went to school in Bridgeport, and the jail was across the street. And they used to say you graduated, right? And so now think about this. I graduated to North Avenue, and in being in jail for 4 years, the state took in, I think it was at that time, $43,000 a year for me being there. That's slavery. That's slavery. And the church didn't have me selling drugs. Right. The church didn't have me doing a robbery, right? I'm an employer now, right? I am free.
Yes.
That came from becoming sober-minded. And again, I don't want to talk about dead religion. That became understanding who I was and who I could be in God and what my potential was. The streets didn't tell me what my potential was. And so I copied off of what I saw. And the highest earners I saw sold drugs. The highest earners I saw did that stuff. It took me I don't want to use the word church, because here's the thing, because I know, we're all educated and we know, the church keeps us, I'm not a slave, right? And the thing is, because I was able to tap into a potential that I never knew I had. And so coming to a place where I had people speak to, like she was saying, speak to what's in me and have me pull myself back from what I was doing and examine what was in me, that's where freedom came from. I just want to say, like, I saw the comments about the slavery and things like that.
Yes. Right. Can I just say something? Yes. These two brothers that are sitting right here, Roger's done 4 years. How long you been home?
2001. So almost knocking on 20 years. Almost was 18 years.
18 years, and Baby Cakes.
I did 10 years. Been home 10 years.
And both of these guys are homeowners. Both of these guys own their own business. Both of these guys, they work, they have families. See, when you say that it's not possible, it's not happening, see, instruction caused that to happen, because the truth of the matter, community and at the rate of what's, is instilled in us says that they should have circled the prison doors again. That they should have been that revolving door, because when young men leave out, they say, I'll be back. But what happens when you can turn around and find instruction through the word of God to be able to help you not just become who you are, but to surpass what society says that you cannot be? When you turn around and watch that these are real fathers that are fathering children, are they perfect children? No. Because I know I can speak for me and my baby kids. Our kids ain't perfect. But here's the thing. They get instruction. They know when their back is up against the wall where to come. And see, everybody doesn't have that. But see, the thing is, and I'm not saying that you got to just go and fall behind walls of a church. But what I am saying is that you need a relationship with God and you need fellowship with people. Because again, iron does sharpen iron. You might be at your weakest point and don't know how you're going to survive. Your mindset might be in a place that you don't know or understand. Where do you start from? You need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to be able to help you just position yourself to be and do something different.
Amen. And yes, her name is Tanya. You come to the church, she'll be glad to talk to you. I promise you will.
Yes.
I saw the question for the young lady. And here's the thing. I saw the other comment. And I don't mean to monopolize. Just stop.
Nope. Go ahead. You can see it clearer than
I don't believe Jesus was Caucasian. I saw that. But here's the crazier part, though. Think about this. If I was in the middle of the street and a truck was about to hit me and somebody pushed me out the way and gave their life for me, I would minimize what they did for me if I turned around and said, but what race were they? Right? And so Christ died to save my life, right? My life has been changed. Now, like I said, disclaimer, I may not believe that he's Caucasian, but I try not to delve into that conversation because life is bigger. Mm-hmm. You understand? Yep. In my business, I market. I was telling my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, I said, you know what? She said, well, why are the people on your flyer this color? The color of the skin, because the people I'm marketing to are this color. And I said, you know what? If I had a business that was marketing to another culture, guess what face would be on that flyer? That culture. Mm-hmm. Because now, my point in saying that is life is bigger than the color of a person's skin. And so I only say that to say I don't want to minimize what Christ did for me by delving into, what was his skin color. That's all I'm saying. I'm seeing the comments as I'm sitting here.
Okay. Now, again, y'all coming up here because it's not they're a tough crowd.
Yeah, and it's okay.
And I see it's y'all kind of like your shape. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, I don't have to hold up. I don't have the truth. The truth don't need defending. The truth don't need defending.
Right.
But ain't nobody gonna be anybody's punching bag. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the first thing I've always learned about life is defend yourself. But I don't got to defend my way of life.
Can I grab this?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Talk to us. It's the Raw Report.
This is Elder Charles over Bethel Agape Shalom Ministry. I got a question for the apostle.
All right,
okay,
amen.
Sir.
Uh-huh.
All right.
We're listening. You still there?
Turn your device down. You're getting confused. Turn your device down.
Okay.
You have the program going in the background, so it's delayed. You're not going to hear it.
Okay, how you doing, Apostle Brunson?
Well, how in the world are you today?
Blessed man of God. I love what you guys are doing there, bringing the church into the community, telling how the church should get more involved. And I give my hat to Wayfaring Ministry, because I know you're a ministry that has always been out there on the pavement, bringing the gospel to those that need salvation. Yes. The question to you, Apostle, is how do you integrate upcoming ministries into your ministries that can be beneficial to the church? I just want to ask you that question.
How do you say that
again?
Say
that again?
How do you see other churches integrating small ministries that are powerful into your ministries or other ministries, where we as the body of Christ can work together collectively to do more in our communities?
It's like it almost seemed like it's hard to be able to try to entwine. But what happened is I believe is just a matter of just being able to, let's just getting together and being able to do, because this work is so powerful, man. And one thing, last October, man, I was in the yard and I almost died. Listen, I almost died. I drifted right out and didn't understand what was going on with my life. And what happened is, and I realized when I got well, I realized and understand, man, we are all on the cutting edge of being out of here. If we don't do the work that God has set for us to be able to do now, man, it's not going to work. So it's really a matter of us just coming together and being able to just get ourselves together and do what we got to be able to do. Sometimes I tell my church, I said, listen, this summer, the whole choir, everybody's going outside. We got whatever band we got, we going outside. And what happened is, and we want to just make sure that we just working together, because this whole thing is, man, how are we going to change the mindset of God's people? So it's going to take all of us to get it done.
I really have always admired you, Apostle Brunson, because you're a man after God's own heart. I knew Praise that God, when I first met you, and I prayed until 11:30 at night. And it was a blessing to be with you. It just seems sometimes that people, when you like, my wife and I, we have a very small ministry. We just started now. It's not like we said that we wanted to be separate, but we wanted to be a part of the greater move of God. And it just seems like, if I can get transparent, sometimes the respect for the church isn't there. But me, Apostle, I'm always push forward and do what the Lord says do. Yes. But like I said, I admire your ministry, because your ministry goes to the heart of the people. It's a for real ministry. And it's, what I love about it? It's not a condemning ministry, yes, but it's a people building ministry. Amen.
Praise God. Amen. Thank you so much, man. I tell you. And we could do this. We could do this, and we're going to be able to put out there wherever we get ready to go and whatever we're going to be doing. We just want people to just be a part. And what happened is, and like I said, sometimes I go outside, we ain't got no business card, and sometimes we ain't got a van. We ain't got this. But what happened is, I believe God, if I could be able to talk into somebody's heart and they'll go back to their family church, it doesn't matter. Because God told me one time, he said, son, let me just tell you something. All I ask you to do is go. Don't worry about where they go. Just you go. If you go, and then I could be able to send them where they need to, because they got to hear something. So I just thank God for that, for giving me the opportunity of being able to just saying and doing just that.
Well, we're there for you, Apostle. If you ever need us, give us a call, okay?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Love y'all.
All right, love you too, man.
And I know there was one person that had comment up there. Let me tell you something. We're definitely not up here to advertise ministry, because our ministry is not, trying to build and get hundreds of people in the wall so that they can turn around and argue and murmur and complain with one another. Because any time you get a bunch of people in one building under one roof and they're not doing anything and not being, ministry minded, outreach minded, they're going to turn on one another. Yes, and that's why we take it to the streets. It's not about trying to gather and get people into our churches, because let me tell you something, for the last 30 years we've been out in the community doing prayer walks, and when we do those prayer walks, the people, whatever community we go in, we contact those pastors in that area to let them know that we're going to be in that area, and we ask if it's okay if we can give them their information so that we can give them someplace local to go in case they don't have a vehicle of transportation to get out to Hamden to our church, or have money to be able to catch the bus to get out to our church. So we plug them in wherever we go and do, the prayer walks in the communities. And I know there's a caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Rob, it's Ashanti.
Hey, Ashanti, what's up?
Nothing much. So listen, I was listening to Tanya, and she was saying that we have to start empowering people, which I wholeheartedly believe. But my question was, besides empowering them with the word, what else are you doing to empower your people? Are you offering financial literacy classes?
Absolutely.
Are you feeding the homeless every night? Are you putting up shelter for homeless to have a place to stay at night? Are you giving small loans to up and coming businesses that's within your community? So my question is, besides empowering with the word, how are you empowering your people like you spoke about?
Shanti, great question. And this is one of the things that I was talking about. And I wasn't, particularly just talking about empowering with the word, because what I was actually saying is that we have too much of the word, because people, they have the word. We know how to pray. We know how to fast. We know how to, do all the things that, people are expecting you to do in church. But what we have not done is to put that place in position to be able to empower. So financial literacy is one of the things that we do talk about and we do, cover, because people don't know how to be good stewards over what it is that they have. It's not mandatory that you look the flyest and then you're the brokest. We just talked about, a gentleman that came through here that turns around and has 80,000 customers that's paying $399 for software that he has, $80 and $30 a month, and this man is making millions, and he came in jeans and a t-shirt. See, to some of us in our communities, that's an insult to walk around looking like yesterday, but we want to wear our wealth. And if we don't begin to cause people to change the mindset that it's not about because we see it in the videos or we see that this is the trend that we got to support soon as the sneakers come out. Do you know you will shut sneaker stores and businesses down if we turn around and took our dollars and redirected it back to empowering as far as financial literacy, learning how to balance, your home savings, your checking account. Most people, and what we teach in financial literacy, they don't even have $500 in a bank account to be able to turn around if an emergency arises for anything. And then yet in the process of that, just giving people, skill sets. That's where, Roger comes in with his program, just equipping people with trades. And then you turn around and you look at the fact of, I'm big on entrepreneurship. I said, I never want to be at the hand of anyone that can dictate to me what time I come to work, what time I could go to the bathroom, what time I could take a break. And I'm not saying that everybody need to just quit their job. I'm saying it's a process, how this has to be done and established. But if we don't start to be able to do that, yes, that is my passion, to be able to empower people, because at the end of the day, when you turn around and this is just my saying, because I got it from my mentors because of the things that I do. If you can't find a way to make money while you sleep, you are literally going to work until you die. So when you
can I ask another question?
Yes, you can, Ashanti.
So with the tithes that come into the church, right? Yes. Does so let's say everybody comes in at the end of Sunday and you've already collected all of your tithes for that Sunday. Right. The growth that you collect in tithes, is the church then tithing off of their tithes and then donating that or empowering and giving back to the community?
Well, here's what we do. When the tithes and seed, remember Roger just said something earlier. Half of the people, everybody that comes to church don't tithe. Right. That's just a 100% fact. We have, a congregation of maybe about 120 people, maybe 20% out of that 100 and so our people tithe. And I mean, actually like tithe. That literally keeps the upkeep of the building. We're looking at, a $1,200 rent. You're looking at utilities. When people come in, they don't want to be hot. They want the air on. In the winter, when it's cold, they want heat. So we pay these bills from off of that. Our empowering comes in where and this is one of the things that our apostle started from day one. Or every Tuesday and Friday, we do a Bible study, but we also turn around and create where people, keep this in mind, people that are interested to come and hear about how they could transform their lives, they come in to be able to hear and get the information. But here's the thing, you can announce a free workshop. You can announce a free empowerment session. You can announce free financial literacy and education. And guess what? It'll be like grasshoppers that is in the building. Nobody responds. But the moment you say, oh, it's a music concert, or, we got this one coming in and that coming in, everybody shows up, because people, they want to change, but they don't want to be empowered at the end of the day.
I want to reiterate.
Ashanti, wait, we got one more
question before I hang up.
Okay, ask your question.
Okay, so, and this was just some personal research on my own that I was doing. So with the whole Mary with the Immaculate Conception or whatever, I started to look up the definition of virgin, right? And back then in those times, virgin simply meant a woman that was not married when having sex. So basically it just meant a person that was having premarital sex. So my question is, where did this story about this immaculate conception come from if it stated that she was a virgin? But again, back then, virgin only meant not being married.
Go ahead, Roger. Yep, that's
okay.
Roger. We all know our gifts now.
I'm glad you asked that question. Before I answer it, I just want to throw out there to your other question. Listen, if you or anybody else needs help catching up, I'm not doing a shameless plug. I just want to say this. If you need help catching up with your rent and we can help out, give us a call. All right, just on the whole, does the church support? Give us a call. 626-1JOB, 203-626-1JOB. But now, as far as immaculate conception, so. And I'm glad you asked, because here's the thing. I'm reading church, and as I'm reading on the screen, it's almost being grouped, right? So the term immaculate conception, that's a Catholic term, right? And I say that to say, just when you've heard that doesn't necessarily mean that every church teaches the same thing. Now, when it comes to virgin, that word meant maiden, right? Now, according to our theology, yes, Mary was a virgin. And now the word that was translated virgin, you're right, is maiden, but in general, especially in that culture, a maiden was a virgin because they had pretty stiff penalties if you got caught having sex out of wedlock. I used to hear that all the time, that, well, it didn't necessarily mean that she was but it honestly, it really did mean that she was a virgin.
Can I just stop you real quick?
Please.
Can I just stop you real quick? Just because it was frowned upon and just because they know if they would have gotten caught, then it would have been hell to pay, does not necessarily mean that kids aren't going to disobey their parents knowing the outcome of it. So we can't say that, oh, well, yeah, back then it was a big thing because you would get in trouble. I mean, here and now things are big things and we know that we can get in trouble, but we still take the risk into it, right? So I don't really think that that's fair.
Well, here's the thing. One, back then, it wasn't a taboo or shame. They actually would stone them and kill them for it. But beyond that, but just to say on the question, the word maiden did mean virgin. It really did. There really was a distinction. I promise you there was a distinction between the translation between virgin and just, somebody else. Virgin meant virgin.
So you're saying that virgin meant virgin, which meant that you weren't married, right?
I meant virgin as in you never had sex. But I want, let me say this, Ashanti, right?
Yeah, that's my name.
So the Bible says this. Romans 10:9-10 says this. If you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God rose from the dead, you shall be saved. Why do I bring that up? Nowhere in there does it say you have to agree with the church as far as whether Mary was a virgin or not. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, in the course of going to any religious organization or church or whatever, there's always going to be this opportunity to hear something you don't agree with. And I would just encourage you to not let the disagreements stop you from going to the church to hear truth. You understand what I mean?
Wait, I've been to the church. I was raised in the church. That's not my position. That's not my stance. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just simply trying to find out. I'm just trying to find out information. And so the information that I'm trying to find out is, where did this story about this immaculate conception come from, that she had never laid with a man and she just had this, like, where did that story come from?
When you say the Bible, if I understand.
Matthew, yeah.
Are you looking like where the particular verse and chapter is, where it's located as far as the passage?
No, that's not. Okay, so maybe I'm not explaining it right. So this is what I just feel like I have faith, but I just don't rely on the Bible for this one reason here, because I feel like it's conflicting messages. Because again, if you look up the word virgin, even though he said you would have got killed for it, I understand that. But the meaning of virgin back then meant simply not being married. That was it. So I'm trying to understand, if it only meant not being married, then how is it, yeah, she was a virgin and this immaculate conception, and you understand what I'm saying? It's like, how do you connect the two?
Oh, because at that time the angel, when you talked about it in Matthew, when the angel had she conceived by the angel that was being able to, was here on earth at the time that what happened, she conceived through that birth through the angel at that particular time. But what happened was, that was just the part that what happened when Jesus came on the scene, right? That's what you're talking about, when Jesus came. when Mary was conceived with Jesus before she got married to Joseph?
Right. I'm just talking about the whole thing.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I know the story is in the Bible. I understand that the story is in the Bible. So I'm not saying where did the story come from. Like, we know it's from the Bible.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's conflicting messages, because on one hand you have, oh, a virgin only means that you're not married. And then you have, oh no, she was the Virgin Mary, which means that she conceived immaculately. And it's like, wait a minute, but that wasn't the definition of virgin back then. So that's all I was trying to figure out. It's just like where the two of those like came in. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you. I'm out.
All right, Ashanti.
All right.
Thank you for calling in.
All right, no problem.
I love it.
Yeah, this is y'all look like y'all do look like y'all might throw a little hands every now and then.
Listen,
the way y'all suited up right now. I've been checking y'all flow, your swag though. You pulling up on cats, pulling them over. You told you gonna stab son. I've been checking your whole style the whole time y'all be here. Y'all been here, but one thing I can't say is y'all not afraid.
No.
Listen,
that's the reason why we're here. We're here just to bring clarity, because last week, someone brought this to my attention, that you was reaching out to people. You was reaching out to pastors. You was reaching out to the church. You know what I mean? To get someone up here. And I'm like, yo, listen.
Right.
It ain't nothing to be scared of. It ain't nothing to fear, because we're getting up here talking about what we're doing. See, this is the whole thing. My way of life wasn't forced on me. Right. I was looking for a change. I searched many things in my life. The many things that I searched in my life, it kept bringing me back to the same thing, to the streets, to a riotous way of living, to doing drugs, to hurting people, to hurting myself. I kept going back and forth out of prison. But then when I met Jesus, my life changed. Right. When I embraced Christ, my life really changed. Yep. I never went back to jail since then. You know what I mean? My life changed. I'm not here to force what changed my life on anybody. Right. What I'm here to say is that Christ changed my life. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And you can embrace the change. You could get some of the things that I got. If what you doing is working for you, so be it. You know what I mean? When I'm on the streets talking to somebody, if they say I don't want to hear that church stuff, you know what I'm saying? I walk away. I still pray for them as I'm walking away. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because guess what? I was that same person that did the same things when the people in the streets from the church tried to approach me. I rejected them. I was like, yo, if you're not giving me no money right now, I ain't got nothing to say for you, because my next victim was right around the corner, and I couldn't miss it, missing some message talking about God. But then when I changed, I understood it. So I have compassion. I have empathy for those type of people right now. You know what I mean? It's gonna be people, you know what I mean? If what you're doing is keeping you, so be it. You know what I mean? Right. To each his own. But I can tell you one thing: we need to unify, right? It's bigger than just saying the word church, because we realize, like my wife said, we are the church. Everywhere I go, I represent Christ now. You know what I mean? I don't just walk in my will anymore, doing the things that I used to do. So, but we do need to come together, because our community, because this is about the church and the community, because our community needs to see more people like us who've made a change, right? Every store I go into in the Ville, nobody black own them no more. But don't nobody see that as a problem. We want to look at the church, but we go spend our money with everybody else in our community. We spend it with the Chinese restaurant. We spend it with the package stores, with the gas stations, with the little corner bodegas now. All those people don't look like me no more. But we won't come together, right, and say, you know something, man, let's shut this store down and put one of our faces in there. You want to know why? Because the person that we still trying to minister on the street want to go get that Lucy, while your viewers is saying, yo, are you feeding the people? Yeah, we trying to feed them knowledge and understanding about themselves so they can change and feed themselves. Why? See, this is the problem. It ain't nothing wrong with looking for a handout for people that need help. There's some people that have some true mental issues out there that really need help. Yep. But there's some just lazy people that's just out there, you know what I'm saying, doing drugs, wasting their money, you know what I'm saying, acting a fool, and you talking about you hungry? Man, go get a job. And if you don't know how to get a job, go get some education. We do offer that. See, I'm a little bit different than everybody else on this panel. I'm a little bit different, because I don't got time for nonsense and games and none of that. You know what I mean? I know how I used to live. I know that I changed. I used to be one of the people that the callers is talking about, and now I'm not. I get people jobs that's coming home from prison. My track record is for real. I get people jobs, roofing jobs. I bring them out there. I have applications in my van. I see people that's coming home. Yo, listen, man, fill this out, man. You got transportation? Yeah, I get you a job. Yeah. They get jobs, man. We ain't here putting in work while people want to worry about, are we feeding people, man? Each church has its own purpose, its own function, and what they're good at.
Right.
Every church ain't going to feed people because they might not have the income to feed people, but we do the best that we can in the area that we can do it. That's why the Bible talks about everything working together for the good. Yeah. If everything worked together for the good, if this church is, you know what I'm saying, is able to feed them and we're able to teach them in this way and we go into the prison, yo, listen, I'm not going to say, yo, why ain't you going to the prison? Why ain't you doing street ministry? But you feeding them, yo, I'm applauding you, I'm saluting you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But overall, collectively, we have to come together.
Can I grab this call?
Absolutely.
Yes. Caller, go ahead. Thanks for waiting.
No problem. I was trying to sit here and stay on task and hear what the panel was saying. But the last caller that called, I just felt led, and I have to be in agreement with Lisa Perry, who made a comment on Facebook that she said, Jesus, help those that are still lost in word, Father. What was that? And I have to say, I was brought up in a household who my father was an atheist. Okay. So when it came to being converted, to understand that I was not fully in control over what was going on in my life. There are influences that happen, and there are things that you're exposed to that when you start trying to understand God as a spiritual influence in your life, there are certain things that logic cannot speak to. Right. I say that to say, I literally digged in the Bible because when I heard the story about Mary being impregnated by an angel, I was like, oh, I know what happened. She didn't want to get stoned and she lied. So I started digging through the Bible. Okay, and I'm just telling truth here, okay, because I wasn't brought up in the church. I didn't have any, spiritual understanding. And I'm going to give a full disclosure at the end, but I just want to say, I read through the Bible and looked at the lineage. I understood that the Savior in the Old Testament that they were looking for had to come through the line of David. It was hard for me to conceptualize that an angel impregnated a female who was a virgin. So that means, I'm looking for an explanation of something spiritual from a natural perspective. Fair enough. In looking at the lineage, Mary's, when you track it, and it's in the Bible, all you have to do is open it, take the time and invest to read it. Mary, her lineage was direct from David. Mary, how do I say this? Whether Joseph was the natural father or not, the lineage came from David. So even God is so awesome that even if you don't even believe that, because again, like it was said, that doesn't have anything to do with your salvation. It's not a requirement that you believe that it was done miraculously. You have to believe, and God is so awesome, he'll show you that if he is the Christ, if he is Lord, without you having a logical understanding of it, he will reveal it to you spiritually and start blowing your mind with spiritual realities and truths that you can't explain. But I say that to say, on both sides, the lineage, God is so dope that he even made sure that if you had an argument and a problem with it, that he made sure that Mary's husband, who was not the biological father of Christ, that he himself, as her husband, when you trace it back, was from the line of David. That's just dope right there. But can I tell you that when I got saved, it wasn't because I understood that and accepted that Jesus was the Messiah and the Christ based on what she was referring to as that Catholic term, an immaculate conception. It's because he came into my life and did something supernatural. I was literally bleeding internally and went to a doctor, 4 different doctors. I bled for 4 months. while I was going to church, while I was questioning if Jesus was really put into the womb of Mary by a spiritual encounter that an angel told about, or was she lying and faking, right? But in the midst of all that and going